Welcome to Arizona and Lucid's launch event for its very first car, the Lucid Air Sedan. I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield.
And I'm Tashlin.
And today we are going to be making 2 videos covering this event. It was really popular the last time we did it, so we're going to do a long version
and a short version.
This is the short version of this video. If you prefer things concentrated down into a short, digestible format, this is the video to watch. But if you want to go more in depth, make sure you watch this video right here. So let's take a bit of a quick dive into what we learned about the Lucid Air's factory, the manufacturing process, and then we'll get a spin around the block. What did you think, Winter?
I'll admit, I was really impressed by the factory tour. It's very clear that you're dealing with a small volume manufacturer at the moment, but just the way the factory is designed, I mean, this is not Henry Ford's assembly line. It's all modular, it's all robots, and it's all designed to be really flexible in a way that I find really, really interesting.
One of the things that really struck me though, Winter, was the fact that this production line was not necessarily built around speed between each individual station. So your kind of traditional Henry Ford production line, things move down the line at a fair clip, one station to the next station to the next station. And vehicles in a modern production line like you might find with Ford or Volkswagen, where you went last couple of weeks ago, the amount of time that the vehicle spends at each station is very, very small indeed.
And that was not what we saw here at all. They really emphasized how long components and assemblies might be at a station, with everything being done to this very, very high level of precision and quality control, which is their objective. Although I was also interested on the metal side in the fact that they use riveted and adhesion for construction instead of welding, which I thought was very interesting.
Right, because this car is basically aluminium. Most of it is aluminium. And what we're looking at here is using rivets and adhesives rather than traditional weld. So the batteries and the drivetrain are made about 6 miles away from here in a rented facility. It's a facility that Lucid doesn't own, it rents. All of the machines there are floor mounted, so it's really easy for Lucid to rent a facility for that, and eventually Lucid will bring the production here. There's a massive greenfield site here, which is, we're outside AMP1, the first Lucid production facility. Here is where you have the paint shop, you have all of the body construction, final assembly, all takes place in the buildings behind me, and there's going to be more factory buildings built all around here to bring everything in-house. There's going to be a presentation inside from CEO Peter Rawlinson momentarily, so we're going to go inside and catch that. But then we get a ride.
Hopefully a drive.
We are in the Lucid Air Dream Edition range. It's the one that has the incredible 520 mile EPA range, but you know what?
Still pretty quick.
It's still very quick. The steering wheel is very pleasant. And I think the thing that really strikes me, as it did last time when I rode in a Lucid Air, was how quiet it is. The seats are very comfortable. I can't speak for the back. Winter, what do you think?
So I was really excited to ride in the back of this car because, to be honest, there's going to be a significant percentage of buyers who are pretty much never going to drive one of these. And the back is interesting. So there is plenty of legroom, but as we've seen with a lot of other EVs, I feel a bit like my knees are at my chest because you have a very high floor because of the battery pack. I'm not a terribly tall person, I'm about 5'9". The materials are all very nice. The build quality is fantastic. It feels very premium. Dare I say, it does feel somewhat luxury. And I can stretch my legs out a little bit, but for a very large car, I find that I feel cramped in a way that I had not expected. The back seat is a bit of a letdown for what I was expecting it to be.
And the turning circle on the Air is actually very good. I was very impressed by that. I don't have the figures to hand, but obviously this is a first drive report. Winter says he wants to know how this handles the turn. Let's see. That was a very, very quick acceleration.
Peter Rawlinson did tell us last night that he wanted you to push this car around.
I mean, this is the fastest and most powerful electric car I've driven, full stop. The closest I've driven in terms of power to this point is the Porsche Taycan. And I know a lot of people will say, well, yeah, you haven't driven the Plaid Model S. No, but if you have a Plaid Model S, call us, because both Winter and I do want to get some time behind the wheel. Even right now, it's still showing 314 miles of remaining range, which is what? Nearly 500 kilometers, on the top of my head.
And a mix of journalists and investors and early purchasers have been wailing on these cars all day.
Right, and the important thing to note here is that since its last charge, it's averaged 1.9 miles per kilowatt hour. But when you pull 0 to 100 mile an hour sprints, which I suspect a lot of people have done, it really doesn't, it's surprising, really.
I would love to know in like normal, reasonable driving what this car's mile per kilowatt ends up being. I will say from back here, you have a very heavily tinted roof, and it is quite lovely. It is very heavily tinted, and yet I still really would rather see a retracting sunshade be an option like it was on, say, ID4.
So you'd rather still have a retracting sunshade?
Even though it's heavily tinted, I would still like to have a retracting sunshade. Yeah, I would.
We're going around this off-ramp a lot more slowly than we did the previous one. And again, there's no body roll at all. It really is excellent body control with this vehicle. You should probably note that this car is running on, I'm not entirely sure which size wheels these are. I'm going to go with 19-inch wheels, which it would probably be for the range. I'm going to get in the back now and give Winter a chance to drive. It's all yours, Winter. I'm pretty sure that Winter's about to hoof it when we get round this corner.
I might.
So be prepared for me to scream like a little girl.
The Can You Make Your Boss Pass Out Challenge of 2021. If I let the car ease off a bit, because there's no one behind me, you know, slow it down a little bit, a little comically, and then... Yeah, and then do that. I mean, this car just has an enormous amount of power, and you don't feel it at all. Nikki said that this is a car which is very easy to go very fast in. If you're accustomed to something like a Tesla Model 3, you're used to a car which, as you get going really quick, you start to really feel it in the NVH. And this car, you don't. This car you know, this car going 85 miles an hour and this car going 35 miles an hour basically feels exactly the same. But if you really floor it, you get that little whine out of the engine. And that's something that people were really worried about when Nikki did her first ride along with David Lickfold, was that the car had quite a lot of motor whine. And at the time, David said that refining the experience of the perceptual motor whine in the cabin was something that Lucid was working on. And I think absolutely in this car, yeah, you really see it. Like, they clearly put a lot of work into it, and that work really paid off in a way that's absolutely lovely. So I have to say, the ride is incredibly good for a car riding on coilover springs. If you didn't know better, you would easily think that this car was riding on air suspension. Because it is very compliant. We're going into some bumps now, and I definitely know that I'm going over them. It's not wafting like a 1970s Lincoln, but then again, it also doesn't have any body roll like a 1970s Lincoln would. So to me, that's a very fair trade-off. It's not too sensitive. The car centers well. I do really like how it drives. At the same time, I definitely feel like this is a car that will cross-shop against a Porsche Taycan. This is a car that will cross-shop against a Model S Plaid. I don't know that this car's going to cross-shop against an EQS. It doesn't ride to me or drive to me like a luxury car. The interior feels very luxury, or at least it feels very premium. But this is the ride of a car built to be a brilliant driving machine with a good deal of comfort. It is not a luxury ride to me.
So there you have it. Lucid Air is now officially launched. Cars are now rolling off the production line.
Cars are going to customers.
And we got to drive a very quick, very fine vehicle, despite our very specific nitpicks, Winter.
Indeed. We did have a few nitpicks, but overall, I was legitimately really impressed with the car. I mean, it is a fabulous automobile, as, to be honest, it should be for the price point.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing to bear in mind here is that this is a brand new automaker.
Doesn't feel like it.
With people who have worked in the automotive industry collaboratively, collectively, for centuries.
Yeah.
There are hundreds of years of automotive industry experience in this company. It's not a Silicon Valley startup that just wants to be a Silicon Valley startup. So I think we should probably say thank you to Lucid for hosting this event.
Absolutely.
As is usually the case with any automotive industry event, Lucid provided airfare, boarding, and meals to enable us to bring you this report. Because we brought the two of us along, Transport Evolved actually paid for Winter's ticket, but Lucid paid for mine. They covered our accommodation, so thank you to Lucid. Thank you to the crew here who've let us use their really lovely ARRI panel light to continue to give us lighting because it's getting very dark here. And thank you for watching at home. Of course, let us know what you thought of the video today. Give it a thumbs up, give it a thumbs down, leave a comment in the comment section, and if you're not into comments, well, just come along and join in the Discord channel. Remember that we made two versions of this video, so if you watch the short one, there is a longer one that's probably going to be epically long.
And if you watch the longer one and you want to show it to a friend who doesn't want to watch the epically long one, show them the short one.
Thanks on behalf of the entire TE crew. Go out to the folks on our right for being our $15 to $49 a month Patreon supporters. Special thanks to our $50 a month patrons. They are David Janakula, Andrew Martin, Guido Drahoa, Brophy Wolf, Taslet in the Gong, Sean Ueda, Gordon C, Regine Fallows, Anonymous Freak, Jim Burness, Carl Hodgson, Anthony Coates, Ricky Leong, Brian Newton, Laura Sanborn, Rory Litwin and Denny Hyde. And our deepest gratitude to our $100 a month Patreon supporters. They are John Lyons, Marcel Ward, Reggie Watts, JP Fagerback, Will Graylin, Matthew Drobnick, Christopher Jones, Paul Conway, Ellery Hennesley,
and Ian.
If you'd like to join the ranks of wonderful supporters, you'll find links below to Patreon, Bitcoin, Ko-fi, and you can also find a link to our TE Swag store. Buy some TE Swag, spread the love. As you probably know, we are trying to raise funds right now to hire a new member of our team because we need a full-time video editor. We're making so much video, I think it's probably like a terabyte's worth of video from this event alone.
Easily.
It takes a lot of time to edit through all of it, and so far it's just been me. So if you don't want me to edit videos anymore, become a patron, support the channel. Thanks for joining me.
And as always, keep evolving.